Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello, everybody. Today we're interviewing Vicky Noufal. She's one of the owners of the Platinum Group real estate team at Pearson Smith Realty in Leesburg, Virginia. With a passion for real estate, Vicky has been a real estate veteran in the area since 2005, having enjoyed helping hundreds of families buy and sell their homes. With a high-energy personality and a genuine care for people, she works hard to establish close relationships with her clients. Vicky has earned multiple of top producer awards, including being recently named the Northern Virginia Magazine as top real estate agent in 2016. Her clients say it best when asked why they would choose her to be a realtor, because she truly cares. Welcome, Vicky. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you very much, Eric. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Cool. Very exciting. This top real estate agent 2016. Can't wait to hear about that. But before we jump in, can you tell us a bit more about you and your business?
Yes, absolutely. So I moved, my family moved to the Northern Virginia area when I was 8 years old, and we've, been living here ever since. I was born in Beirut, Lebanon, and throughout high school and college, I worked in a lot of retail and sales jobs, which I really enjoyed. I always had a very hard work ethic, and I like working with people. And then I went to George Mason University, which is right here in Fairfax, Virginia, and earned my Bachelor of Science degree in marketing. I love business, and marketing sort of fit my interest in business. After college, I worked for Virgin Atlantic Airways for several years at their corporate sales office in Washington, D.C., and that was a lot of fun. And after which, I took some time off. I have my 3 sons, whom I'm most proud of. And then shortly after my youngest son, Mason, was born in 2005, I went back and got my real estate license, originally thinking that I would be working part-time as my kids were so young. And right after, as soon as I got my license, I joined a very successful local real estate team in Purcellville, Virginia. From there, I worked there for almost 4 years, and it was a very good experience. It was a rainmaker team. And so I got a lot of experience, lots of training. I met some wonderful folks who I still work with to this day. They're, some of them work on the same team. And but after a while, after a couple of years, I felt like it was very limited in terms of growth opportunities. And I decided that it was time for a shift. That was scary because it was really my first taste of success in real estate. And within a year of that, I decided I needed to make a change. And change is never really comfortable. So I did. I made the change, and I changed to an independent agent. And I went to a different brokerage locally. And I worked there for the next 7 years. And I worked very hard. I worked on growing my business. I worked on getting my broker's license. I was part of a successful team there as well, but an informal team. We didn't have any centralization of our marketing or systems. And my business started to really take off. And I started thinking that maybe it was time for another change. And then last year, in August of 2015, my partner and I, Karen Cooper, we started Platinum Group Real Estate. And we are in our first year of business. And actually, the team has grown very rapidly. We are 14 team members total, 12 full-time agents, and we have 2 administrative professionals that work on the team.
Wow, that's quite the evolution.
Yes, it's been a fun journey.
And going back a bit, you talked about you had a lot of interest for marketing in the beginning. You ended up in real estate, but how did that? You mentioned exactly how you went to where you are right now, but originally, was this something you were considering in real estate, or is this something that just happened?
I have to say I've always had a very serious passion about real estate, and it came from a very young age. So it was it was not by accident. Even one time I remember I was in college, full time, and I came home and told my parents I was, enrolling in real estate school, and I did it. I did it simultaneously. I took my, whole principles of real estate class. But then I never went any further. I just kind of left it. I was 19, and I think I was just too young. It wasn't the right time for me. But the real estate has always been in my head ever since I, was in college. So.
Okay. And what personal attributes or traits or qualities contributed the most to your success, you think, and did you develop these along the years?
Sure. Well, I think several things have helped me along in my journey. Probably number one, I would say I consider myself a lifelong learner. I believe in continued education, that knowledge is power, and it has really helped me immensely in my career. I attribute a lot of that to my mom. She was an avid reader. She was always big on education. And throughout, in our business, it's constantly working on improving yourself and getting better. So I have attended many classes. I've attended many conferences. I've read many, many books. I listen to podcasts. I also think, part of learning is not just books and classes, but also observing your mentors, other people that you look up to and admire, and also developing your social intelligence skills, which is imperative when you're working with people. And so all of those things have helped me tremendously. Other things that I think have been important to me is I always approach my life from a big picture perspective. This really helps me make better long-term decisions as a business owner. How to invest in marketing, where to invest in it, understanding market trends, planning even my next steps in my career. And so I think having, a big picture mindset has made a big impact on my career, because I see everything as an opportunity. And it has helped me recognize different points in my career where it was time for me to make a shift. And then, of course, I think probably the other thing I would mention is tenacity. This is a business that is all about initiative and self-development. And I knew that real estate was going to be my full-time profession. So from day one, I was determined to survive and to thrive. And so that meant coming into the office every day. That meant being engaged. That means just putting 100% effort. I worked a lot of late hours. The first few years, I probably worked 7 days a week for several years. And that determination has helped me a great deal. But, it's all worth it to me because, it brings me great joy. I love it. I love going to work. I'm excited to be doing what I do. I'm grateful for it. And one of the nicest compliments I can ever get from clients or from people I are meeting with for the first time is when they tell me that they can feel my energy or my vibe. And I believe that people want to work with others that are happy and that are confident in what they do.
Yeah, I would say passion is extremely important if you want to influence people, right?
For sure, for sure.
And we talked about success. I mean, getting to the goal we set forth and then getting there, we call it success. But there's no straight line to it, right? Just ups and downs. One thing I like to ask people is that, can you talk about some of the adversities that you faced and how you kept going despite these obstacles?
Yes, absolutely. I remember I started in 2005. The market was taking a downturn, and I had only sold, a couple of houses. I was struggling. I was new. The market was challenging. And I remember our team leader in 2006 offered to us in the office an opportunity to go visit a Brian Buffini, who is a real estate coach, a mastermind convention in San Diego. And I thought about it. My kids were young, and despite being new and not really, taking off at that point in time, I accepted her offer, and I made the decision to attend with her, which turned out to be a critical move for me. As during that conference, for the first time really in my life, I heard a very powerful message that stayed with me to this day, and that was the power of setting goals in writing. which I have done ever since. Every year I put our goals down in writing, and so does our team. As a team, we do this every year. And also the message that if you work hard, anything's possible. And so I came back on fire. And I think taking that risk and being willing to travel and allow myself to grow and learn was very important. Also, I think another thing is that as I started to outgrow the model I was in, is finding that courage to make a change and believing that I could have more success or that I could be successful on my own. The question that's always swirling in my mind is this where I want to end up for the rest of my career? I ask that question all the time. And if the answer is no, then it's trying to figure out, well, what should the next step be? And that ability to project forward and then finding the courage to make that uncomfortable change has been, critical for me.
Great. To me, this is very inspiring. This approach of yours, so I really applaud you for that. One thing I'd like to touch on now is, like a lot of things in life, there's no straight line to it. There's always ups and downs. So for success, what have been some of the major adversities or trials you had to overcome to achieve your goals? And maybe you want to talk about how you kept going despite these obstacles.
Sure. I think, I'm a full-time mother, first and foremost, and a full-time professional. So one of the challenges or adversities is trying to stay in balance or finding a balance. Sometimes it's hard to establish boundaries in this real estate business. It's 24/7. I tend to be 100% in with my clients and my transactions. People are going through a lot of emotional distress sometimes. So just trying to, create a balance for my family as well as my career. And then also, I would say identifying or learning or recognizing my weaknesses and my strengths. Sometimes that's easier said than done. I do think in terms of a big picture mentality, as I mentioned earlier. I'm focused always on business strategy and keeping things moving forward. But I also understand that to run a successful business, you need different skill sets to complete the picture. And so I'm fortunate to have a formidable business partner who is exceptional at management and implementation. And so by recognizing sort of where my strength is and where my weaknesses are, and finding someone that I can complement that, it's helped us both achieve those goals, and we're blessed to have a great synergy together.
Nice, thank you for that. Now I'd like to look forward. What's your vision about your business in the next 5 years?
Sure. Well, it's still a new team. We're still under a year in business. But when we sat down to write out our business plan, our vision our goal was to be the team that everybody wants to be a part of and to be respected within our industry. That's important to us. And so that's what we're going to be working towards. We continue to get better at what we do. We hope to continue to grow the team with our kind of people. We believe that sales skills can be taught, but most important is character and heart. And another thing I think is also I feel like if it's not the final destination that's most rewarding, but it's the journey and getting there. So we will always keep pushing forward. I feel like if you don't try, you'll never know. And who wants to look back on their life and think, why didn't I try? So that's our goal.
Awesome. And how do you feel you'll do this? Will you market yourself to achieve this?
Oh, that's very simple. Actually, we market ourselves with quality work. We have on the team a full-time marketing manager who's very talented, Dee Simmons, and a full-time client care manager, Melissa Jeck. And they're both extremely great at what they do. And so we have established minimum marketing standards for the team with, requirements for professional photography, custom brochures. And we believe that it's through this quality work and consistency and working with our clients through the process hand in hand that we think it's the best way to market ourselves and continue to grow. We mostly work on referral, and that's worked very well for us.
Oh, great. Let's talk about some of the misconceptions out there about working with Realtor. What, in your opinion, is the biggest misconception or myth people have working with a Realtor?
Oh, that's a great question. Certainly there are many, many misconceptions, and I feel like I spent much of my day answering some of those questions. People don't understand, I think, the process in buying and selling a home. They don't realize how many steps there are, how many things are involved, deadlines, contingencies, other parties, title companies, inspectors, lenders. And so it's explaining the process and sort of walking through that, is very important. And of course, also people don't understand money a lot. There's confusion about who pays for what and what is the commission, what is the commission, included, that there's, people don't understand that there's a lot of overhead and business expenses that are part of that. So, and it's understandable why they feel that way. I think it's just our job in the industry to do maybe a better job of educating from the get-go, from the beginning, when you sit down with them, explaining the process will help alleviate a lot of their, maybe anxiety or anxiousness about what to expect.
Good. Now, let's talk about some hypothetical argument here. So hypothetically, if a family member that lives on the other side of the country was thinking about selling or buying a home, what kind of advice would you give him?
Okay. I think that if they were in a position where they could get a referral from someone they know and they trust of another agent that they work with, that's obviously best. But other things that I would advise them is to look for a real estate professional, not only who's experienced, but also who's fully engaged in their business. And how do you find that person? To me, maybe do some research online, looking at their bios. Is the information updated? How are their reviews? Reviews are very important, and sort of learning more about the person and also their personality, and making sure that personality is going to be a good fit for the person who's selling or buying a home. And another thing I would tell them is to look up and see some of the listings that they have on the market. Look at the quality of the work, the photography, the way things are presented, and the way they present themselves. I think that will be a good indicator of the experience that they're about to have.
Great advice. And to wrap up, let's do another advice. What would you advise our listeners that are interested in getting into the realtor business? What would you tell them?
I think, I get that question a lot as well. It's such a wonderful business to be in. And there's no limits, there's no ceilings, and really no one to hold you back. My advice would be, as a new agent, would be to set realistic expectations and be patient. Talk to as many agents as you can before you jump into the business, because it really is opening your own business. It's not like you're working for someone. So be prepared as a business owner. It might mean that you need to put a business plan together. You need to have some money set aside to invest money so that you can start your business, and know that it usually takes several years of hard work to see those results. So it's not an overnight success typically. And so as long as your expectations are realistic and learn as much as you can, I think that you can really have a wonderful, wonderful career doing this.
Very, very wise advice. Thank you for that. Now,
Thanks.
How can our listeners learn more or get in touch with you?
Sure. They can go onto our website. We have a website, goplatinumgroup.com, to get more information. They can call on my cell phone is 703-402-5416, or check out our Facebook page, Platinum Group Real Estate. And they can get more information and see. We try to post a lot of interesting information to our Facebook pages as well as to our website blog. So,
all right. Well, thank you very much, Vicky. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to exchanging with our listeners here. This was very interesting and very inspiring. So once again, a huge thank you.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine. Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Bye-bye. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.